Welcome to episode 3 of Beyond the Books with myself, Jordan Dennis, and my colleague, client experience manager, Alia Kane-Coleman. Alia has been with the business for quite a few years now. However, we identified in the last sort of 6-9 months that client experience is quite pivotal in order for us to progress in business. So Alia, welcome to the podcast. Do you want to take us through what client experience looks like?
Yes, absolutely. Client experience really is every interaction that a business has with a client. So it's not just the technical work that we deliver, it's how easy we are to work with, how responsive we are, how we communicate, and how confident the client feels in working with us. When services across the market start to look quite similar, the experience the clients have with us is actually what will set us apart in the market. So we need to make sure that we are setting ourselves apart in the market, really, doing what we say we should be doing. So for us, it's about making sure that throughout the entire relationship, from onboarding to conversations that we have with a client, that the experience feels consistent and professional and genuinely valuable.
And proactive as well, actually.
Absolutely.
Thinking about it, clients want to be told the news first from their trusted advisors.
Absolutely.
As opposed to, I don't know, with their friends at paddle court or at the pub or whatever that looks like. So you've been in the role now since the beginning of the year. So what's that looking like so far? What have you been up to?
So far it's been really, really, really interesting. I have been on what we call a listening tour. So I'm taking a 4-stage approach to the role. So review, design, build and implement. So the first stage has been a review stage, and that's basically understanding how the client journey is currently being delivered in practice by the people who are delivering it day to day. So far I've actually spoke with 43 people in the business across service lines, CSD, CSMs, so our client service directors, client service managers. And actually I had an internal survey sent out to the whole business as well, so that they could contribute to obviously the wider client care programme that I'm aiming to deliver. And also it's something that I will be going to speak to clients. So that has been my first focus.
That's interesting. I like that, because without understanding how the individuals in the business take client experience and understand how they are part of that sort of cog of the business and how to portray what great client experience looks like. You've got to listen to people and understand how you look at client service directors compared to client service managers. The role there, albeit a client service director is very much a man-made role, I suppose, more than anything. There's no such thing as a client service director. It's more a case of a higher level manager that knows where to spot those opportunities, where to speak to the clients in terms of what works for them, where do they need the funding from, how can they pull together all those pieces. Whereas a client service manager will ensure that they're compliant, have those pre-year-end meetings for tax efficiencies and things, and just be that point of contact for the business. So albeit we're all in the same compliance background, we are two different types of service offerings.
Absolutely.
Which is really interesting to understand how then each one will take what client experience looks like.
Absolutely. And I suppose with client experience becoming more and more important for businesses, particularly in our industry, where the relationship and trust basically is centre to the whole, everything that we do, really.
Yeah, it is.
But what's been really, really encouraging is that, we've got some incredibly strong client relationships across the business. So the opportunity now is to just build that client care programme to ensure that we are sharing best practice, and also we're all identifying those friction points of where can we improve and where can we take it to the next level.
And a good thing there is we've changed our internal onboarding process to a new software. And yes, that's not worked straight away for all parties. That falls under client experience.
Absolutely.
We need to get those clients onboarded as quick as possible to service them in the way we want them to be serviced.
Yeah, and tech is going to play such a huge part in all of this. I think we need to embrace tech, most definitely. And like you said, that onboarding software that we are using, effectively that is the first touch point that a client is having with us. So as soon as we've got that absolutely perfected, and we can get that that seamless onboarding process, that'd be a fantastic, start point from the client journey.
Yeah.
And then just, we can be sailing through on after.
So I know you mentioned the listening tour, and just for the people that aren't aware on the podcast, do you want to give us a bit of an understanding of what that entailed?
Yes. So that is understanding the client journey from the people that are delivering it day to day. So as I mentioned earlier, speaking with colleagues across the business, across all service lines, roles, offices as well, across all of our offices, to understand how they work with clients day to day. So we talked about what great client experience looks like, where can we improve and what things are already currently working. So yeah, as I mentioned, spoke with 43 people across the business alongside the internal survey that went out. And again, I'll be speaking to a few of our clients as well, just to get their perspective. So, one set of questions, two different perspectives. Let's see how they marry up, actually. So again, it's not to critique anything that we're doing. It's just simply to understand and get a bigger picture and real fresh perspectives on, how things work in practice. One of the questions that I did actually ask was, and what you mentioned earlier was, can you define, proactivity in the context of client experience? And it was actually fantastic to see how aligned that we all are, because
Good.
I'd probably say 95% of the answers, we near enough said the same thing. And it's being on the front foot. It's, going to the client before they come to us to be more proactive than reactive and spotting opportunities. And so, yeah, that's it's been really insightful to.
I like that because as well with our business club that we spoke about a couple of episodes ago, we've got clients that were coming in today, and you're scheduling with them on their listening tour and understanding from their perspective what their experience looks like.
Absolutely.
And then as a client, what would that entail? Is that a report or is it a feedback? How does that look like from a client's perspective?
So from a client's perspective, it should just look like trust, clarity and consistency, basically. So all clients should always feel like they should know who to speak to, when we're going to be speaking with them, and that they've got that trust and relationship with us to communicate with us. So really just so nothing ever feels like a transactional relationship, that we feel like a trusted partner as such in their business.
I think the relationships that we have with the clients, especially the long-standing clients, I mean, they become friends, don't they?
Absolutely.
And then it becomes personal, and you feel like, well, I've got to really manage that. And sometimes there's an expectation there that, oh, they'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. We can get back to them next week. They're fine. They know what we're like. They know, and they're very similar in how they operate as well. But actually bringing that back to what client experience is, it's not whether or not you've known them 30 years or 3 months, the service should be the same. If you're going to commit to, I don't know, replying to an email within 24 hours, you have to stick to that.
Absolutely.
And you have to show in that. But then that becomes an expectation then, of which then clients are expecting a reply within either 24 or 48 hours. A few people I know, they're on their out of offices and things. They know that they're busy, but they will have an out of office on, even internally, to say, look, I've got your email. It will be looked at within 24 hours.
Absolutely.
It's not instant. And I've been a culprit of that before, in that I've been very proactive in replying, and then all of a sudden I've either not put my out of office on, or I've been out for a day or two seeing clients in London or whatever, and not been as quick getting back. And it's automatically, well, where's Jordan? That's you sort of fall at your own devices, really, because you want to make sure that the experience and the client satisfaction is there.
Absolutely.
So you're creating a rod for your own back in certain respects, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think the easiest thing where we can fall down is, not sticking to our word. That over promising and under delivering. It's damaging.
So Alia, if I was a client, then what would that look like? Take me through that journey.
So from a client's perspective, you should feel like, it's clear, we're organised and easy to work with us. You'd know who your main point of contact is, communication would be straightforward, and you wouldn't feel like you are constantly chasing for updates or chasing a reply or, waiting for a phone call back. We'd understand your business fully, and we'd be proactively raising things to help you grow your business and, you know, bringing things to your attention that you may not be aware of, rather than just reacting, you know, when a budget update comes out or something like that. So I suppose the overall aim is to make you feel that, you know, you are being well managed and, you know, you are getting that added value.
I'm adding to that as well because, like you just said, we're trusted advisors. Yes, we're accountants, but we're also business advisors.
Absolutely.
And that business advisor piece is across 12 service lines.
Yes.
It's not just accounts. It's not just personal tax, corporation tax, VAT, etc. It's HR. It's innovation. It's client experience. And actually, the more you know about the business as a whole, or we know is about the business as a whole, and that client experience, that listening tour and the support there will only add benefit to that.
Absolutely. Conversations become easier, more relaxed, more genuine, more helpful. I just think, you know, the communication as well has been one thing that is really highlighted, is what has been highlighted, throughout the listening tour of, you know, you can't speak to your clients enough or even speak internally enough either. It's just really, really important to be communicating.
You've just got to be transparent. Like even today, we've done another business club
it's fantastic.
session, which had more clients coming, more positive feedback, and one or two that are members was really personable. They really loved the personableness of it. Speaking to you, arranging those dates in throughout the year for you to go over or to do it via Teams, whatever that works for the client, and just understand them more.
Absolutely. It's not anything that we've got to over-engineer. You know, if we just strip it back and just, you know, communicate and just get that trusted relationship in place, and then from then, I believe it would just genuinely flourish. Sounds really easy. Sounds like I'm probably underestimating it, but I just think, don't over-engineer it, strip it back to basics and communicate and get that relationship, and it makes things a whole lot easier.
And I think for you, with that, if the client isn't happy about something that their manager is doing at the time,
absolutely,
they've got somebody else that they can go to and go, actually, do you know what, XYZ isn't for me? Is there someone that is more on my wavelength, or whatever that looks like? Doesn't mean that no one's perfect.
No, not at all.
You've got the ability then to understand the client, to go, actually, guys, I don't think this person's the right fit as a manager or as a CSD for this client.
Absolutely.
And then it will only aid the relationship.
100%. I think really ultimately, yes, I'm part of TC, but I am here to represent the client, and I will join up, you know, our internal colleagues to our clients. So again, a fresh perspective, you know, because everybody is in the day job, everybody is working in the service line and, you know, focusing on what they do day to day. Actually having me a fresh perspective of, actually, this is not working, this is what's been raised. It's not necessarily to say that what we're doing is wrong, but actually, can we look for an alternative approach? You know, is that actually working? And I suppose, fresh perspective always works, I believe. But again, it's that client knowing that, you know, they can have an open conversation, because, you know, as we've mentioned, we have client service directors, client service managers. Sometimes a client might not feel comfortable actually with somebody they've had a long-term relationship with, to say, actually, I'm not happy with what you're doing there, or I don't quite think this is working as such. So I think, you know, as long as they know that they have got that second point of contact or that third point of contact, they can come in and know that they are going to be heard as well. You know, a lot of people probably can say they're really passionate and they do care about, a lot of businesses can say, you know, really care about client experience, but actually, have you got a dedicated person for your clients that is, you know, got an absolute focus on improving their experience and listening, making sure that their feedback is being actioned as well? Because if we ask for feedback and don't action it, I think that's just as bad as probably not actioning it.
It doesn't become accountable then, does it?
Exactly that.
One interesting thing though is, not everyone in the profession wants to be client facing.
No.
And so we, rightly so, we work out who the best people are.
Absolutely.
And if that person is best as a very technical individual who doesn't want to be client facing and have that relationship moving forward, they want to be sort of not behind the scenes, but very much a cog in the business, but delivering very technical, good quality work, then that works fantastic as well.
I think that is so fine. You know, we're not all the same. And I think that's the beauty of that. We can play people to their strengths, I would say. And, you know, like more of a client-facing person, perfect. Get them out in front of clients, because, you know, you will get the best out of them, and the clients will also see the best of them. And if we want that more technical person behind that screen, number crunching, absolutely fine. I just think it's just recognising what people are good at, and let them do that. Because I think the minute you start forcing people into certain roles,
becomes very
uncomfortable. It's not authentic, and it just won't work. So, yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
I think when we did our QBR as well, one of your questions and one of my questions, the QBR before last, so probably November time, was things like, how confident are you picking up the phone? Which was quite interesting because I thought it would come out lower than what it did, but 80% of the business are confident in picking up the phone. And that is proven positive from a client's expectation. But also, I think those ones that are the 20% that aren't confident, it's how can we train or make it better for you, or make it easier for you guys to be able to do that as well?
Absolutely, because, whilst I do say, play people to their strengths, if people are not comfortable with certain things, that is fine. But I do also think that it is the basics to be able to pick up the phone and have that conversation with, any external person from the business or anyone in the business. Training you mentioned, which was, really glad you did mention that, because throughout the listening tour and the internal survey that was sent out about understanding current practice and how we currently operate, training was one of the questions, and it was, what can we do to support you and bring out that confidence? So again, training is another thing that we will be looking to implement for, people within the business that feel that they need it. And it's not going to be a one and done thing. It's not going to be, I don't know, a telephone course or something like that, and we visit that in April and then don't look at it again till the following April.
And someone rings.
Exactly. That's it, when someone picks up the phone. It is going to be something that actually we're going to be consistently revisiting and just ensuring that we are getting the value out of it. So I think training in the most natural way as well, though. We want it to be natural. We don't want
and authentic. It's got to be. It's got to come from the passion of the individual wanting to have those relationships.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think 90% of the business, you're never going to have 100%, so we'll go with 90. 90% of the business here, where we're sat, is very much client-focused and client-facing.
Again, another one of the questions. Another one of the questions was, do we support a client-first mindset? And I'm sure it was everybody, might be one or two, but everybody had said yes, honestly, because we genuinely do. I think just what we need to do is just ensure that we've got all the right tools in place, processes, tech, resourcing in certain areas maybe. As long as we've got all that in place, then we're absolutely fine. But, I would say the business absolutely does support a client-first mindset, most definitely.
So with that in mind then, obviously going into the next sort of 6 months, rest of the year, what does that look like for client experience?
So longer term of my role is to create a client care program for the business to ensure that we are delivering an exceptional client experience every time. That is the ultimate aim. But for all the insight that I've gathered from listening to our internal surveys and speaking to clients as well, is to basically take it from the review phase and move into design phase now, and to take everything that we've learned and basically shape the direction of what we're going to focus on for that client care program. So building out full processes from the full end-to-end journey, straight from the onboarding to potentially, if a client leaves, what is that offboarding process, but basically mapping out the full client journey and based off all the insight that I have got and gathered, to ensure that we are delivering an exceptional client experience.
I think it's exciting. I think it's something new. Not really any accountancy practice has done before.
No, not that I'm aware of. No,
it's quite new to the market, especially, and the drive and the ambition there is absolutely there. And I think I'm wishing you best of luck with it.
Thank you. It's going to be a transformative project, to say the least.
Well, it's always a moving target, isn't it? You learn from the mistakes that members make trying to be the best that they are.
Absolutely.
With the clients as well. So it's how can we better what we've done.
Absolutely.
To make sure that the client satisfaction is always there.
And that was the main point of the listening tour. It's, I want to know what's working well, because this isn't all about implementing change. This is what's working well for one service line, and how can we replicate that across the business? You've got a fantastic onboarding process. Let's use that across the business. So and again, it's not that we're not currently delivering an exceptional client experience, because as I said earlier, we are doing a fantastic job in what we do, and we've got some people in the business that have had relationships with clients for 20 plus years. Now that is something. So, we are doing something fantastically right. It's just, let's take it to the next level now. What else can we do? And let's really, drive this. So, yeah, it's really, really exciting. Really excited. It's going to be no mean feat, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, love it. Well, if anybody obviously wants to meet Alia and learn a bit more about the client experience, I think the business club's probably going to be the best.
Fantastic. Honestly, I would urge anybody and everybody to go to that business club. Great breakfast, absolute great spread, but no, some fantastic conversations as well. And yeah,
it's a good one to start with, isn't it? But yeah, thank you, Alia. I wish you all the best, and yeah, we'll speak soon.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.